Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to my Dishonored 2 review. So it's been 5 years since the last Dishonored game, and I think we all know that Dishonored 2 would be good. But just how good is it? And if you're not familiar with the Dishonored series, the best way to describe it would be a mix of BioShock and Assassin's Creed. If you enjoy either of those titles, or stealth games in general, then I don't just recommend playing these two games, I strongly implore you to do so. Beginning with the presentation, the setting of Dishonored 2 still has a cool, steampunk-like coastal setting to it. And unlike in the previous game, Dishonored 2 feels a bit more alive, as I felt like I was running into more civilians and guards in the same area. As for the graphical presentation, it's overall decent. It appears to be on par with Titanfall 2, so not great, but not bad. Dishonored 2 for the PC features many graphical options as well, which is great. Speaking of the PC version, I did not see any of the glaring optimization issues that so many people are complaining about on Steam. I did, however, run into the occasional slight frame rate drop, and my character has no shadow for some weird reason. But all that could be the performance of my rig. That being said, graphics cards generally over GTX 970, I'm sorry I don't know the AMD equivalent, should run it better. But notice how I said the word should, so that doesn't mean it absolutely will. Moving on to the story presentation, just like the first one, it's a very simple concept. Someone is trying to usurp the throne of the Caldwins, then you go finding and defeating the main bad guys, henchmen, and conspirators, and finally you reach the bad guy to decide the fate of them. The end. Even though it was simple, I still thought the story kept me enthralled and motivated to keep playing. The simplicity in the story is good, seeing as the stealth gameplay is mostly what we're here for, so let's move on into that. First things first with the gameplay, Dishonored 2 still features the chaos system, but it's just slightly different this time. It works in the same way, straight up killing anyone will increase it a bit, but on the contrary, Arcane Studios in an interview actually stated that some people just need killing. Yeah, how cordial. Specifically what they mean by that is some assassination targets are just really horrible people, and they add far less chaos when killed. So that's one slight difference. By the way, doing a complete pacifist run won't hurt at all either. The other difference in this chaos system is that there are even more factors that can affect it, but I won't spoil them. You'll have to make those decisions for yourself when the time comes, because of course the end of the game is dictated by the chaos and those choices you made. This game will truly show what kind of person you are, or you could say,
reveals your true self.
Moving forward, I honestly felt that the original Dishonored already had gameplay mechanics that felt very satisfying. Some of those gameplay mechanics weren't perfect, however, but Dishonored 2 has made some much needed improvements on the movement, combat, and stealth mechanics, with a couple big additions as well. For starters, I absolutely love the new ability to perform a chokeout after a sword parry. It was definitely a big thing the first game was missing, and it's great because it makes swordplay actually viable when going for a low chaos run. Dishonored 2 also adds a non-lethal drop attack, which was another much needed feature that was missing from the original. As for the movement system, the game adds the ability to quickly vault over short objects while running, and gives the player the ability to climb over higher obstacles while carrying a body. This time around, there is no rat plague. Instead, there are these new things called bloodfly infestations. Unfortunately, these bloodflies do not devour enemies like the rats did, which is kinda disappointing. Sure, it was gross, but hey, it made it easier to hide bodies. They do, however, react to noises and can distract other enemies. They may even sometimes kill one or two of the enemies, and it doesn't count against you, which is pretty nice. The heart also makes its return, and that means the bone charms and the runes are scattered all over the world once again. And if you don't know what those are, bone charms are perks that you can activate, and runes are used to upgrade abilities. Going along with that, here is one big thing that Dishonored 2 adds, and this is the ability to craft the bone charms and runes. To craft them, you must unlock the ability and find raw whale bones also scattered all over the world. And crafting them is just adding the different abilities of them together, and you can add them in combinations of 2s, 3s, or 4s. There is risk involved, however, while doing this, as the crafting process might unfortunately give the final product a negative side effect. This can be remedied by simply upgrading the crafting ability. Rune crafting is just pretty much what it is. creating more runes. Moving on to the character abilities, Dishonored 2 actually lets you play as either Corvo or Emily Kaldwin. The main game will flow exactly the same, only with the alterations in dialogue and some completely different audiographs. The only other difference between them is their abilities. Corvo has mainly his same abilities from the previous game, and Emily has a couple of those same abilities with a few of her own. This time around, the player also gets a minor bit of choice in how said abilities progress instead of just buying the next ability level up. Going along with the new abilities, there's one in particular that's really fun to use, and it's Emily's chain ability. Basically, in the first level of this ability, you can mark 2 enemies, then if you either kill or knock out the one you marked, it does the exact same thing to the other one you marked. She also has the ability to do a shadow crawl, which then she can knock out an enemy even if she's facing them. Overall, all the new abilities, and even the old ones, are very fun and add a nice little flair to the stealth gameplay in Dishonored 2. There is one more gameplay aspect added to Dishonored 2, and I think this one is really special. In Dishonored 2, you can choose to reject the outsider mark and play the game without the use of supernatural abilities. This adds another way to really challenge the player, and I think that really ups the replayability. It also shows the confidence that Arcane Studios had in their level design. And let me tell you, Dishonored 2 has even improved on that level design, as I was also able to spot many places where the player could beat the levels in such a way without the abilities. And Arcane Studios did it very well. Now, Dishonored 2 is not perfect, as there are a few issues I found. The first and definitely the worst is, like in the original game, enemies just don't give a shit that they kill their own. To make matters worse, they blame you, and it also counts as a kill by you. So yeah, that's really dumb that this issue from the original has not been fixed. It's pretty bothersome. There were a few instances, however, where I was choking an enemy and their ally did not try to cut through them. Still, and many other times, they either shot or stabbed through their ally just to get to me. Next, the scenery in the far distance didn't seem to be as detailed as it was in the original, and sometimes the quote-unquote scope visual effect still showed up. It's a graphical feature that makes objects in the distance blur, and it seemed like it was turning off and on sometimes. Very strange. There are also a few stretched and blurry textures I found, especially in the void. I know it's supposed to look all crazy and stuff, but it looks pretty bad. Alright, that's it. We're done. Dishonored 2 definitely made some great strides forward from the original, and the original one is actually one of my favorite stealth games ever. From the amazing level design to the impactful choice making, Dishonored 2 keeps all the great aspects present in the first one. Sure, there's still the enemy friendly fire issue, but other than that, it's a near perfect stealth game. I think it's pretty obvious that Dishonored 2 takes the place as my favorite stealth game yet. It earns a 4.5 out of 5. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point, please take that one little second to hit the thumbs up. Also, please share with everyone you know that has any interest in video games. Last but not least, please subscribe to my channel for weekly game reviews, commentaries, and countdowns released every Sunday. I'll see you all next time. Have a good one out there.